Hello gamers, Ghost here with Antog. Today we will be talking about Watchdogs. This is a 2014 third-person shooter slash hacker game where you play as Aiden Pierce. It is a blend between an open world game and a story campaign mission, and I think it's really good, but we'll get into a discussion on that.
Yeah, so as Ghost just talked a little bit about Watchdogs, you basically play as this hacker. His name is Aiden Pierce. He's basically trying to figure out who placed the hit on him and his niece. I don't want to go too much into the story because I don't want to spoil it for any of you guys who haven't played it. But that's kind of just like the overview. This is a brand new series that we have basically just started since last week. I'll put a link in the description for the video that I did as just kind of like an overview. Basically, each month, Microsoft releases 3 games that are 100% free if you have Xbox Live Gold on your Xbox to download. It's pretty awesome. You can get 2 free Xbox One games and an Xbox 360 game that is backwards compatible, but I go into a little bit more detail on that on the video. But today we are going to be talking about Watchdogs, which is what Ghost just said, which is a 2014 release from Ubisoft, which are the creators of basically the Tom Clancy games, the Division, which is a pretty big one, and then Ghost Recon Wildlands. They also created the Assassin's Creed games as well, the Unity, Syndicate, Assassin's Creed, all the Assassin's Creed games is made by Ubisoft, so that's kind of a backstory of Ubisoft. But talking about Watchdogs, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, probably 7.5, the story felt a little lackluster. It was a relatively long campaign, but it was just kind of awkward going to the different areas that you went to in the city of Chicago to basically, I don't know, just like hack around and stuff. It didn't feel like it was what a hacker would be doing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But I'll give it over to Ghost to see what his review is on it.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's a little lackluster. The voice acting, if you've ever played Watchdogs, Watchdogs 2 was pretty good, which if you want that, just comment down below. But anyway, as far as the voice acting, a lot of people who've played Watchdogs 1, I guess, or Vanilla Watchdogs, whatever you call it, say that it's pretty bad for Aiden Pierce, at least for the voice acting, which I'd have to agree on that part. I think everyone else did a decent job, but I wouldn't be dissuaded just because of the campaign. I mean, it is an open world game, just like The Division or Ghost Recon Wildlands, and it's a Ubisoft title, so of course it's going to be good. I mean, for 2014 open world, it's almost the same size as the Division's open world, which I actually looked that up because it looks very similar. But it's a very intense game as far as the multiplayer, which we'll get into in a minute. But as far as PvE goes, it's very fulfilling. I mean, you just hack everything. That's basically their whole slogan, just hack everything, which I think is really good. I'm a big gaming and PC building techno nerd, I guess you could say. I think Antog's the same way, but I think we both really like stuff where it gets into some of the hacking and just coding, which I know we both do a little bit of, but I just thought that was a very interesting part of the story. I don't think it's a turnoff for people. It doesn't like go into something that's going to overwhelm you with information, but of course it is a video game, so it's got some appeal to other people.
Yeah, definitely, and kind of going off of what you said about the open world, it definitely is a very fluent and amazing open world. I think that most games that are open world, after you complete the campaign, it's kind of like, what's the point? But I felt like there was always kind of something new with Watch Dogs and this kind of the open world city of Chicago, and I really, really enjoyed it. But I mean, multiplayer is definitely great. I think that they definitely could have expanded on that a little bit more to kind of be like this kind of Grand Theft Auto 5 with a phone kind of thing, I guess, where you just are able to hack stuff. And I definitely had some of those movie moments when you're in this car chase and you hack this bridge or whatever and you prevent the other guy from jumping over it or something. And I thought that was really, really cool. And just being able to hack, like, literally almost everything in the entire game. Like, you can hack bank accounts from people, you can hack phone calls, text messaging, whatever. And there's just a slew of things to do in the open world after you're done with the campaign. So I'd have to say for the open world aspect and just kind of gameplay mechanics and stuff for that, I'd probably definitely give it an 8 or an 8.5. Just because, like, you can do a lot of stuff with it, but I think that it kind of comes back to this kind of lackluster thing where it's like you have a lot of stuff to do, but after you're basically got everything in the game, it's basically bone dry. And the DLCs, I don't really think added too much to it. But I think that the vanilla game is still pretty good. So that would be my review for the open world.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. It's a little lackluster as far as after content. With everything else, I think they did a phenomenal job on the open world part, but as with any open world game, I mean, it kind of gets stale after a while. I mean, let's be honest,
Yeah.
you're not going to be playing this thing 24/7. I mean, unless you just really like the game, which I liked it a decent bit. I mean, I thought it was a really good game, but so talking about multiplayer, it's got a slew of multiplayer options that you can go through and just different things you can do in the open world. So let's just talk about that for a second.
Yeah, the multiplayer is definitely pretty awesome. There is a lot of game modes. You have like online racing, online tailing, online hacking, and then you kind of the online free roam. The one problem that I have with this is that you have this thing called adversarial free roam, which basically, if nobody else has it activated, you can't do this PvP stuff, which is really, really annoying. I don't like how they have that. I kind of wish that it was just like PvP is always on. If you don't want to play PvP, you can go onto different servers and stuff like that. But they didn't do that, and it was kind of disappointing because the multiplayer itself, it's fun, but it can get very annoying and just very stale real quick when, you only have one person you're able to really like fight, so that can get a little annoying and just stale. But I think overall multiplayer is pretty fun. When you're playing it with friends, I really enjoyed it. And you guys can also play on private servers, so there's another thing that you can do if you want to do that with friends, which me and Ghost, if you guys are watching the clip, you will see us doing that. And I have to say that was also really, really fun to do. We played some hide and seek, and we just kind of did some 1v1ing and stuff. But at the same time, it does just end up falling out. So it's just kind of one of those things like any other game. So I would give it probably another 8.5 on that. But let's see what Ghost has to say for that.
Yeah, I would definitely give it like a 7, 8.5, 8.5 or whatever, because again, the big part of the game is just the multiplayer and the free roam, but the biggest part is the free roam, which I think they did a pretty good job on. But the multiplayer gets a stale after a while. I mean, it's just like, I think it's like 7 or 8 modes, which is good for starting out, but after a lot of people just like investing in time and just investing different aspects in the game. I know The Division's definitely one of those games where you can spend hours and hours trying to get that perfect build, and then you get it, and then after that, it's just pretty much, I mean, you're screwed for the rest of the game just because there's not enough content, with the DLCs, you've got maybe 42 hours of content, which is still decently good for a game, but that's another discussion for another time. But with this game, it's very good what they did with just the different aspects of open world. I think they did a good job on making it a free roam game as opposed to limiting all your options to just shooting everybody, because you don't have to shoot everyone. You can run around. They have a race mode, which this may sound a lot like GTA 5, which it is a lot like GTA 5, but I think a lot of that has to do with just people hyping it up and making it out to be just GTA 5, which if you actually look at it, GTA was out before this game was, but still, I think a lot of the time people can't make, and developers cannot make a game similar to GTA or another game without having people contradicting them and saying, oh no, you guys suck because you made a game just like GTA 5. Well, yeah, it's an open world game where you can drive cars. I mean, you can't just limit open world game where you can drive cars and shoot people to just one game. I mean, people aren't going to do that, which I'm not hating on GTA 5. I'm just saying you can't just bash the developers for taking a good idea and using it. I mean, that's what they've done for the past 30 years with video games. I mean, if you look at Atari, people had the same ideas. Sega and Nintendo, for example, they keep making similar games, which you could probably argue the opposite, but still, I mean, a lot of the games are similar. You could say COD is ripping off Ghost Recon or vice versa. I mean, there's a lot of time you could spend arguing about games where you could be enjoying the game for yourself and taking in all that there is in the game. And I think that's a big issue for people and a big turnoff when they come to Watchdogs, because they're like, oh, it's just a GTA 5 carbon copy when it's not. It has its own genre and finesse and flair to it because, I mean, you don't hack people in GTA 5, and if you do, I mean, it's just like a puzzle game, but in this you can just hack everyone. I mean, it's really good, and I think they did a phenomenal job on the game as far as gameplay goes in that sense.
Yep, and moving on real quick to the combat of the game, because I know combat can be a pretty big thing, especially in a game which is third-person shooter. Combat is pretty relatively fluent. The weapon changing can get a little bit annoying here and there. Trying to holster your weapon, you kind of sometimes end up switching to a weapon and you freak out everybody who's around you and they start calling the cops. And next thing you know it, you're in a police chase. And that can get pretty annoying sometimes. So the combat system is relatively fluent. I did enjoy my time using it and just kind of fighting other players and stuff. It's definitely a lot like just a Grand Theft Auto. Where you have this weapon wheel. You can switch through weapons relatively quickly. Not too much to do there, but I mean, overall, I'd probably give it a 9. It definitely was trying to copy what Grand Theft Auto was, but I mean, like Ghost just said, it's kind of is its own game. But I mean, all third-person shooters are kind of like that, especially a game with this kind of open world type feeling. Most games are going to be pretty similar in the combat system. So combat system probably would be a 9 for me. I did enjoy it. So let's see what Ghost has to say for that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much so. Again, I think it's very similar to GTA 5. My mindset is as long as you're not directly pirating the game, like certain Chinese people are doing with Overwatch, not going to name names, but you guys know who they are. But anyway, if you're not pirating the game, I say go for if you take a good idea and you tweak it to where it's your own, but it's still similar, I think that's okay. And a lot of people give a lot of people like me flack for it. They're like, oh, that's just copying, you're just being lazy, developers are being lazy. Well, what you don't think about is, are you making a game? No, you're not. Are you a developer? You're probably not a developer. If you are a developer and you're watching this game, you guys are OG. But anyway, or watching this video. But if you're not a developer, you have no idea what they go through on a daily basis. Unless you're one of their family members, you don't know how much strain is on them to put good content out in like a 2-year span to make a full game that doesn't have much bugs in it, which is very difficult to do, not speaking from experience. But I mean, you gotta give them credit where credit's due. I mean, so what? They take one idea from GTA 5. Oh, the whole internet's gonna blow up. They're gonna be rioting in the streets. And this may sound like sort of an aggressive take on it for me, but I am trying to be a little passive-aggressive just because a lot of people get this game wrong because they assume it's just going to be a GTA copy, and I don't think that's it at all. I think it's its own game. It has some elements that are like GTA, but I think give it a try. I'd say I give it an 8.5 for the combat. I had a couple issues with it, but not much. Hardly as many as The Division or Ghost Recon, but not bashing those games. But so I think it's a very good game. I'd highly recommend trying it. If you don't like it, that's fine. It's your own preference, to each his own, but I think it's at least worth trying. I liked it, and we're still playing it today. So,
yep. So overall, I'd say definitely download this game. Kind of what Ghost just said. If you don't like it, you can uninstall it. It's free. So I mean, it is pretty good. Play through the campaign. It doesn't give you too much for the for the Watchdogs 2 campaign because they're kind of completely unrelevant to each other. But I definitely would say that it is worth trying out and picking up. So if you guys want to do that, you can. Anyways, guys, this has been the Gamers Weekly. We hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. If you're brand new, we post weekly gaming content just like this. And anything else you want to say, Ghost?
Yeah, I'd like to quick and give a shout out to you guys. This may sound cheesy, but I'm going with it, so screw it. You guys broke over 1,000 likes and 1,000 views on our 2 Ghost Recon weapon reviews, and that's just really nice. Thank you guys for being there and supporting us. We're, again, a newer channel. I've said it before. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary or 1-year anniversary, so we might have a video out for that. But just thank you guys for supporting us. We've had a lot of big-name YouTubers who've liked our stuff and said keep it up. So thank you guys. We're trying to be a funny and informative channel, and that's not always easy for us to do, but still, we're trying to put the best content out that we can for you guys. So just thank you guys real quick for that. So without further ado, I guess I've been your host, Ghost.
I've been Antog.
And we'll see all you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.
Peace.